Well, hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. Leeds United running out winners in South Wales 2-0. And on the scorecard, it looks really good, doesn't it? It looks like Leeds have gone down there and done a job. And they have they have done. And I want to get your thoughts on that. I really do. I want to hear what you guys say. Apologies for the red appearance. It's this light. I'm telling you. Look, I'll show you what I genuinely look like on my other streaming platform. Look at that. Look at that. Don't know what's going on. StreamYard's doing me dirty. But yeah, ray of sunshine for Leeds, getting a win on the road. I was very sort of expectant of it. It has to be said. I wasn't thinking to myself with Leeds United today it was going to be a difficult game. I'd done my prep. I'd done my research on Cardiff City. I'd spoken to a few of my former colleagues who work for Wales Online. And Cardiff are not up to much whatsoever. Well, the majority of the fan base want Bullet out. He should have gone, according to many of them, post the Derby game. And, you know, there were boos ringing round Pride Park after Cardiff lost that game 1-0 in a critical game last week. So I was going into this game with a lot of sort of just expectancy and standards when it comes to my football club. You know, we are going to be hopefully reaching the upper echelon of this division. We're going to be reaching the Premier League as of the end of this campaign. So I'm not sort of like unbelievable. I'm just very much like, yeah, okay, job done. You know, job done. I'm not sort of euphoric. I'm happy, but it's expected, and I think that's the position that I'm at this moment in time. I'm interested to get the temperature from you guys as well. In the comment section below, what do you think? A lot of you. I mean, I was doing a watch along. There's over 3,000 people, 3,200 people across all platforms, and I could hit Farke out. It's so interesting right now to see the temperature of the Leeds fans. It's very, very different. It's very different at this moment in time. I think there's different conversations to be had. I thought the running of the game, I thought in the first half we were good. I thought there was a nice tempo, dictation of that. I thought the dynamic of the front four, to say they've not played together before from the very beginning, was really good. I thought Aronson was incredibly impressive in the half spaces and on the half turn. I thought Ramazani looked incredibly exciting. I thought there was a mirror image there of Crysencio Somerville when he was gliding with the ball on that left-hand side. I thought William Gnonto was involved in everything. I was really happy that Gnonto had the performance that he had, because it was a big one of them to a lot of people who've said that he should be dropped. He had to be dropped when, in essence, William Gnonto is the best player in this division, in my humble opinion. And I've not agreed whatsoever with people hounding him out because of a performance against Burnley, of which, in my opinion, he wasn't put in the position of which would have got the greatest impact out of him, although we understood why Aronson was in that number 10 position. So we get into the game. Leeds dictating possession, of course, which we seem to be doing consistently in most games, really, which was really good to see. But overall, I thought it was a performance of which, you know, I was listening to the co-coms when it came to Dorigo, and I was listening to the co-coms when it came to Bryn as well, you know, doing the watch along, and they were very, very actually quite critical. And I was quite in that second half in particular. We didn't really see anything different from Leeds, but what we did see was a bit of a decrease in the tempo. I mentioned it on the watch along. It was very much like dads versus lads, but the dads were like 35 and the lads were like 10 years old in those like little sort of 11-a-side you have with your kids or your dads or whatever, put on by the local club, of which the dads are at like 50%. And what I didn't understand at 50%, why won't go for the jugular for the majority of the second half, really? We've got the penalty. Struijk, I'm not going to go at Struijk whatsoever for that. There's been a lot of revisionism with the fan base. Why is Struijk taking it? Well, Struijk's taken pretty much every single penalty when he's been fit for Leeds, and everybody's loved it, especially when he's been rolling them in. So I'm not going to criticise him whatsoever. I think Pascal's penalties have been really good when he's been taking them. I thought today wasn't good. It was a poor penalty. And we made Anik at points, look like a half decent keeper, of which he isn't. But Cardiff, it has to be said, have got to be the one of the worst teams I've seen at Championship level. And I have to be honest there. I thought right now, with how they look under Bullet, the team that they put out there, Sopsis in the middle with Joe Rolls, I thought Leeds could overrun them, and we did in that first half. I thought with another defensive midfielder in there, but not really a defensive midfielder, a number 8 in there in Tanaka, who just has an aura about him, guys. When he's on the pitch, he's just got an aura. He has just that ability to unlock. You can tell. He always wants the ball. He's a lovely footballer, very, very fluid. Tanaka has to start at some point for me, and I thought he should have started today. If he wasn't start, you could have at least put Rothwell in there. I actually thought Greb was good in that first half. I thought he was really good. I actually liked him taken it upon himself to get a little bit further forward, take a few shots off. He had 3 shots in that first half. There's just a difference between him and Tanaka. Tanaka, evidently, is a little bit more comfortable in those forward spaces. That's it. Gruev, for the first half in this game in particular, I thought he was really good. Really, really good. Combative, winning the ball back in the right areas, playing the right passes. But then in the second half, just focusing on Gruev, it turned very lateral again, turned very backwards again. Was that managing the game, or was that maybe the fact that Cardiff were trying to push a little bit higher on his touch? I would probably go with the latter, which forces Gruev backwards because he can't alleviate that press when he's on the ball. Can't go past that press, which isn't his game, but at points you've got to do that. I think Tanaka can do that with his body. You see it when he's on the ball, just that quick turn, that quick sort of left to right shoulder roll, which he can do when he's on the ball. I just think he's got a lot more in his game than maybe Gruev has. And I think in a game like that, it just showed you, like, if the 4-1-4-1, we were doing the talking points before the game, a 4-1-4-1 would essentially mean that you're pressing Cardiff all the way back. And in that offensive area, you've got another body in there. Just a strict 4-1-4-1. I felt in that second half, Gruev dropped back to essentially right next to Ampadu when you're 1-0 up. That didn't need to happen. And I just thought in that second half, I just couldn't believe how we weren't 3, 4, 5, 6-0 up. And it came back to what Daniel Farke was saying in his press conference. The efficiency is poor, and it is. And I think that's probably my minor criticism I have with this game. It's the efficiency. It's, can Leeds, when the pressure's on, and maybe when we don't have as many chances as we had today, can Leeds be clinical? Can we be ruthless? Is that the word that you can attribute to this Leeds United side? Ruthless. Because to go up in this division, I don't care who you are, what time, what year it is, you have to be ruthless. And we've seen that in former years when Leeds have gone up. Ruthlessness. So, yeah, I think I was overly really happy. Largely getting his goal. Really, really happy. I thought it was a really good impact from him as well. I thought, as I said, good balance, low centre of gravity. Defenders are going to struggle with Largey. He doesn't come out for me whatsoever, but you've got the option if Manor Solomon has shrugged off that back injury to come back in. Can Solomon play in the 10? Although I thought Aronson was really good in that first. I thought he dropped off a lot second half, has to be said. I personally thought that. Willie Nonto, I thought was good for the large majority of the game. But I think that there is definitely a conversation to be had about where Manor Solomon goes, because I think you've got to have ruthless pace in this division. And I think if you've got ruthless pace, as we saw last season when Nonto and Somerville, or even when James and Somerville were on the pitch together, you just kill teams. And I think Manor Solomon doesn't have that explosiveness, that direct pace that maybe a Ramazani has. So do we fit him in and around that number 10 position? And do we have a conversation about maybe Manor Solomon on the bench? Can we talk about that? Potentially. But I thought Ramazani came in and he doesn't go out for me. Debut, goal. You can't ask for anything more than that. And we know Manor Solomon got that as well in his previous game. But, you've just got to react on what's just recently happened. And Ramazani got his goal, didn't he? Had another chance to wrap it up. I thought he was offside. I think he thought he was offside, I should say. And it was a bit of a leisurely swipe at the ball on that left-hand side. He actually killed the angle for Joseph, because Joseph was coming onto it with his right foot, would have finessed it in the bottom corner. Didn't quite happen. Saved. Strout penalty, of course. And then, yeah, I just thought in that first half we were really on course to just taking their souls away, and just completely dissipating any sort of hope that they had. And they were awful football team. With the greatest respect to Cardiff fans, you shouldn't be watching that. I mean, they couldn't get a sequence together, and that wasn't just on Leeds, by the way. Even though in that first half we were hustling, we were harrying, but every second ball was a hoof, and it was into the corner. There was no direction. There was no thought process, no football IQ. O'Dowda wasn't in the game. They couldn't get him into the game at all. Chris Willock's on the bench, who destroyed us last season. What is he doing on the bench? A lot of conversations to be had of that Cardiff City side, of course, but it really gave the onus on Leeds to take their souls away. And I don't think we did that today. And that was the question for me going into this game. Can we take their souls away? Can we really rack up that goal difference? Because I was of the opinion we were going to win the game. Couldn't we really take it away from him? And I just thought with the tempo for large portions of that second half wasn't on point. However, we won the game, everyone. It was an ugly win. Was it a convincing win? Don't take my words for it. Take Dorigo and Brinlaw. Not a convincing win in terms of ruthlessness and being assassins in front of goal, which maybe makes a little bit more of a generalised problem. But Leeds got the win, which was much needed. So we're going to get into a couple of your comments, everybody. Slap them in, and we're going to get into a few other bits as well. You simply cannot play 2 DMs against 10 men with that Cardiff side, says Aiden. I think I disagree with you. Sorry, I'd agree with you, mate, Aiden. I think, and that is maybe the handbrake on with the manager, and he was speaking in the press conference about shape. And he was very, very quick to I think it was Baron Cross who asked the question of going to a 4-1-4-1 and actually having an advanced 8 in the games. That, for those who disagreed with me and Aiden and others, that's the exact reason why you have another 8 in there. That's the exact reason. You don't have to worry. We are going to be on another level should be 85% of teams, 90% of teams in this division because of our quality, because of our options, our depth. We can't even talk about, we can't even really have a debate about that, in my opinion. So on that premise, you play with another attacker. So you just suffocate them, smother them, offer yourself another body. And not only that, everybody, but I feel a Rothwell, probably more of a Tanaka, and we've seen it twice now when he's come on. I know it's game state, he's come on at a certain time, but just how he takes the sting out of it, how he wants the ball all the time. He switched the ball. It's the first time we saw a switch in the game. Switched the ball to Jaden Vogel immediately, I believe it was, or Sam Byram, I should say. Really lovely switch. Direct balls. I'm not saying he's going to be the saviour. I'm not saying that. But it's just having someone with a little bit of a calm head, a cool, calculated, composed head, of which can receive the ball in the final third and just go forward, but go forward without being a bit skitty. Go forward, just having a calm head on it. We don't need to be erratic. Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't need to be that. It's calm, cool, calculated. And I think that's what Tanaka brings, a little bit of fluidity as well, and a football IQ, of which has had him playing in the Bundesliga for a number of years in the Japan national side and getting goals and assists to his name as well. I just think Tanaka's got to come in, but this is the exact example of why I think the risk-averse approach with Leeds United in this division will be problematic. You know, putting 7 defenders on the pitch when you're coming up against that lot with 10 men is just ridiculous. I think as soon as they went out of 10, maybe wait for 5 minutes, see what the game's like, if they're getting back into it or whatever. But even on the half-time minute, chuck Tanaka on for Gruev. And at least you're going for a stylistic change. You are also resting Gruev. You're resting Gruev for the next game. Do that. But as I say, I don't want to be too critical. I have to say that because there's no point in doing that. There's no point in doing that whatsoever. But I did feel like it was probably the worst 2-0 I've ever seen. I just felt we had the onus, we had the opportunities to really go at them. And I thought the tempo was really reduced. And I don't really know why, to be honest with you. But it is a win. It is a win. I have to say that. JC, we were methodical and got the job done. Would have been nice to have taken chances, but we missed another clean sheet, 2 goals, and importantly, 3 points. And that's the measuring stick, isn't it? That is the measuring stick. I think a lot of fans, maybe including myself, Jay, are just looking at that grander picture of, you know, can we be a little bit more clinical there? Can we be a little bit more ruthless? Can we just increase that tempo for a 70, 80-minute spell instead of diminishing that for periods of time? It was 1-0 for a long period of time. They weren't doing anything. They weren't doing anything whatsoever. But I'd like Leeds to increase that goal difference. That's what I want. I want us to increase that goal difference because are we going to get to a period of time this season where maybe there's a goal in it? Who knows? Let's get into exactly what we're looking at anyway, guys. So the man of the match for me, Willie Nonso. So I thought Nonso, and that's the one Leeds man of the match. I thought it was Willie. I thought he was effective. I thought he was really good in those first phases. I thought in terms of getting the ball, winning Leeds free kicks, getting us up the pitch as well, in terms of dropping deep, almost doing that rutter roll, you know, the rutter roll of which dropping deep, getting hold of the ball, moving up the pitch, and really been effective when it came to Leeds United. I thought it was the perfect game for Nonso. I would like to give a little bit of a tip of the hat to Matteo Joseph. I know a lot of you are going to crucify me in the comment section because maybe he was a little bit shy in that second half. Look, listen, guys. For me, when we get the ball out wide, and as you saw with Firpo and as we saw with Bogle, if we're not whipping those balls into the box, which we weren't, what's Joseph supposed to do? He's sort of waiting on the last line for the ball. But as we can't say that we're lateral and we're going backwards for a lot of that second half, but then criticise Joseph. You can't really do that because then you're not getting players in that offensive third who are linking the ball to Matteo Joseph, who are playing the ball. And this isn't me defending him. It's not me defending him, but we can't look at him for this game and say, oh, he missed a 1-on-1 because he's making those runs again. I think he got an assist for Largy as well, didn't he? If he hadn't been involved in that goal, Largy wouldn't have been thrown goal and their defender wouldn't have been occupied. But I just think, you know, if Leeds need to start having the onus on them at phases in these games where when we've got these overlaps, when we've got the wing backs pinning their fullbacks, make use of it. Make use of it. Whip the balls in. Feed the ball to Matteo Joseph like we got with Mano Solomon when he whipped the ball in for the Hull for the game that opened up Hull. for Matteo Joseph. If we're not doing that, we are literally forcing the ball to Matteo Joseph through central spaces, open play. There's no point in doing that. You've got to give him a variety of options there as a striker to be able to work with. So, so I thought actually what he was doing was occupying the defenders in that first half. Leeds were a little bit more fluid in that first half. The second half, I don't really think we got into it as much in the tempo. So I thought you saw maybe Joseph going into his shell a little bit. But I thought, the combination play between Nonto and Joseph specifically in that first half was really good. And the full-time stats as well. Here we are, everybody. So we performed under our XG, which, not ideal. Not ideal. I thought obviously the penalty there. The chance for Aronson, which he's got his feet muddled up and he had to score really, but Leeds with 15 shots there and 6 on target. Last week we had 17 shots. So you're getting sort of plus 30 shots there and 2 goals. And this is the efficiency I think Farke was talking about, and the effectiveness I think a lot of the fan base is talking about. We need to start being more ruthless in front of goal. 6 shots on target there, only 2 goals against a poor Anik. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the table then, shall we, everybody? So Cardiff City prop up the table, 24th, Portsmouth 23rd, Preston 22nd, Sheffield Wednesday, interestingly, 21st, another loss again today. Plymouth losing to West Bromwich Albion 1-0. Not the greatest performance for them. Coventry losing today 2-1 to Swansea City. Millwall Stoke, Stoke obviously losing last night, Hull beating them just above them there. Luton getting a win at home, a very, very important win. QPR and Bristol City next up. Middlesbrough losing to Sunderland earlier on today in a really good game, actually. We're speaking about that on the watch long. Norwich with a massive win, an absolutely massive win against Watford, knocking them out of the playoffs, a 4-1 demolition job. Derby and Oxford United still clinging on to those top 10 positions. Swansea up the rear there. Leeds climbing into the top 6. Blackburn Rovers, Sheffield United, obviously Sheffield United getting another win there. Burnley getting another win. Sunderland with the win as mentioned, and West Bromwich Albion. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Anyway, we've got a donation here. Archie's in the building. Wow. There we go, Arch. And this is what I mean, everybody. I'm not trying to suggest these things, but I've said on this channel in the preview that what I want you to do is, if you have an opinion, I don't want you to be scared. I don't want you to be scared to come on these channels and give your opinion and feel demonized for it. I don't want you to do that. I think there's too many forums or other things where, I don't want to call people out or anything like that, but I think there's too much where you're demonized for having an overreaction or a meltdown if you don't see things in a certain or a similar vein to other people. Look, you can completely disagree with me. You can completely agree with me. I'm not of the line of thought of Arch, but I can understand why he thinks this, and we're going to get into that right now. Arch says, Farke out, not convincing win. Subs made no sense. Should give Perot chance to start as 9. Interesting, Arch. So would you have started Perot ahead of Joseph? And were you saying that before the game, mate? That's what I'll put back to you, Arch, because if you're on the same tread of thought as me, mate, I'm sticking with Joseph. I'm sticking with Joseph. I think he offers a lot more than what he doesn't. Not 10, not CF, not false 9, just a pure 9. It was a striker's finish. Other managers would get 5-0. Shout out to you, Arch. And thank you so much for your donations, guys. We had so many through the watch long. Thank you. Obviously, even through this, if you send your donations in, I really appreciate it. It helps me with the running of the channel. I keep mentioning this, but it really, really does. As well, everybody, we're sponsored by IPM Group. IPM Group are a CCTV surveillance and security group that are in the Leeds area. Rick and the gang are all Leeds fans. If you want some from basic needs to advanced needs, links in the description below. Also, you got football prizes where you can enter for a ticket. I think it's £3.99 this week, and you've got match tickets, hospitality tickets, kits, all this sort of stuff that you can win with this ticket, and Patreon available. Link in the description below. We're going to have a match review on One Leeds as well, of course, .com. Let's have a look. I think you guys are talking in the comment section below about this. This game shows you exactly why clean sheets are not a goalkeeping stat. Melee should have taken a good long hour nap today. Helvetti said it's a win. One we needed. The missus took pity and fed me gin and tonic all afternoon. I'll be honest, as much as I'd love for us to perform teams as so, that just isn't Farke. And the interesting thing is, with that is like there were Norwich's Farke side, especially in his second tenure, were ruthless. They were absolutely ruthless. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a certain profile. Maybe we're missing that number 10. But Aronson has started really well, as we all know, this season. It just seems like I don't know what it is because I get what Farke's saying, and this is where I'm not going to look at him really. This decision making in front of goal, which can be a little bit bizarre, We got what we wanted today as well. Ramazani started out wide. The reason I mentioned Ramazani starting out wide is because I thought we could kill them out wide, which I thought we did for large portions of the game. They're not quick. Perry and G's had an awful start to the season, as has Bagan, who then got sent off. We could have attacked him out wide with raw pace, and we did that. Leeds did that to really good effect. I just think some of the decision making's a little bit off, and I don't think he helps himself, as I keep mentioning, not starting and essentially a number 8 as part of that double pivot, because I think you're going to get Tanaka or Rothwell being more comfortable in those areas than Gruev. I think that's going to happen, and I don't think those players are naturally going to fall back as much as Gruev did in that second half. So overall, I'm happy, really happy with the win. We've got to take it into context. We just come off the back of a loss. We're in the top 6. We kept another clean sheet. What can we be upset about? Well, I don't think we are upset. Some of you guys are. But is the expectation too high? I don't think it is with a lot of you. I don't think it is. I think you just look at a Cardiff City side who are operating at a League One level with 10 men there, and you're expecting Leeds United to put 3, 4, 5 past them. Some of you are turning around and saying, look, don't be ridiculous. We've won the game 2-0. Who gives a monkeys? Who gives a monkeys? We've won the game 2-0. Smile. Get yourself a beer and stop whinging. I can understand all points there. I really can. I think this is separated by some fans, and this isn't right or wrong. Some fans thinking long-term and some fans thinking short-term. I think the fans who think short-term are very much of the, and this isn't a right or wrong way, by the way, are very much of the, this is a really good win, blah, 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 and it's very short-term basis. You know, a win, and then another win, and then another win, and you're reacting to those games. Long-term fans, I think, are a little bit more Farke out, negative, pessimistic with it, because they look at, let's say, a Cardiff City performance today. They maybe look at a West Bromwich Albion performance earlier on in the season, a Portsmouth performance earlier on in the season, and they may look at that and go, well, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, and this is happening continuously. You know, continuously, is that a word? Continuously. Yeah, that is a word. I've been speaking for a lot of hours, guys. And there's no right or wrong there, is there? This is what this forum's all about, the one lead space. There's no right, there's no wrong. We can disagree, but football's subjective. I think it's interesting. Really, really interesting. Let's have a look. Connor, the football is dreadful. Moyes in now, says Joe. Says Paul. Jay says, Joseph is young and has done well, but he needs to learn sometimes he can't take as many touches as he wants. BA is the same. Sometimes just get out your feet and either give it a smack at goal. Yeah, I think that's a lot of it as well, Jay. I think the thing is what we maybe think as football fans is there needs to be or the manager thinks, or maybe the players think, it's clearly under instruction that there needs to be an extra pass. And I think that's the frustration with a lot of Leeds fans. It is the extra pass, the extra 2 passes where we don't need it. We don't need to. And you do hear the manager come out and reference passing and accurate passing. So that's clearly an instruction, because accurate passing and the percentile been in the upper echelons of the 90s, that's something Farke works on. So don't think to yourself that the onus is on the players to just pass. That's an instruction. The reason they're passing is because they've been patient and they're trying to look for spaces. But sometimes the spaces are there and the players don't look for them. And maybe the onus is on the player there, but the manager is instructing the players to increase that passing count. So maybe other players are pulled out of shape. That is what happens in football. However, what I will say as well is the switch. I think that's the main criticism I have with the Daniel Farke style of football. It's just the switch. The switch is on every single time to our right side, on every single time. But these 5 to 7 yard passes, I think with us playing in almost that rondo space of around about 10 yards, I just think there's options for Leeds wide right and wide left a lot of the time in the football pitch, and we elect to go for 3 extra passes to then get to the end goal. For us then to potentially have the other unit on the other side of the pitch as well, which kind of takes away the point of doing so in the first place. So overall, happy. Overall, we're back in the top 6, but I understand why people Jasper Mergen, fantastic result, Connor. All the best from Grasmere. Shout out to Jasper. Matty Flambeau says the people who want Farke out, who do you think you can get instead of him? Who's better than him you can go for? From a Dortmund fan, it looks like. Will you be at the Coventry game, Connor? Yeah, potentially, mate. Potentially. We'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, I think overall, everybody, good win for Leeds United. Is there a reason to be critical at points? I think so. But there is also a balance of we're in control. Complete control. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Complete control. Did Cardiff do anything? Got to ask yourself that question. Did Cardiff do anything? Daniel Farke has come away from South Wales with a 2-0 win after the back of a defeat. What we're moaning about, or what are people moaning about? I'm certainly not moaning. I'm happy with that. Few bits of which, but that is, it feels like my few problems with Farke are just going to be a Farke thing forever, as long as he's in charge of Leeds United. I think substitutes will always be a little bit like that for me. I think maybe not starting certain personnel in certain games will always be a little bit like that for me. But overall, if he can get as close to 90 points this season, I think this Leeds side will get promoted. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that points total in terms of the opposition teams. I think that was a record. But what I will say is I wonder if West Brom are going to be stronger this season. They're the ones that I'm looking at. It feels like Corbrand's starting to get a tune out of them, and they've got decent depth on the bench as well. Corbrand is very much system over players, which there is an argument that with Farke it's players over system. Yeah, and there's a lot of conversation to be had. I've just got a message from Brownie. Told you it was good. I don't know what he means. Oh, I think he's talking about next week. We've got him on the channel. Monday morning, Brownie's coming on. There we go. Or something of the like. Helvetti says, I think some fans expect us to be peak Barca. In this league, you take the win. We are better than anyone in this league, and I do believe that. You win the league by promotion or winning. Yeah, 100%. Matty said, my feeling is Farke is the best you can get. I don't see you getting anyone better personally, or anyone as attacking as he's trying to be. And maybe that's it. And you're still seeing Farke out. Crazy. Not crazy, because this is the thing. You can be critical and you can want him to develop. But that doesn't mean you Farke out. Like, I'm not Farke out. Unfortunately, with some of my fan base, if you criticize and if you want to see improvement, that means you hate the player, you hate the manager, you're reactive, you have meltdowns. We're not having meltdowns here. We're taking both sides, and we try to do that a lot of the time on this place. But I can also understand why fans are a little bit perturbed. But should you be that perturbed after a 2-0 win against Cardiff? There were frustrations in that second half. There were. Leeds' tempo completely dipped, but it's a win. And we're back on the horse. And I think for this game in particular, that's something that we've got to look at. Right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll leave it there for the instant match reaction. I think that's good enough. But as I said, into the top six. I understand. There's a little bit of worries, with the long-term plan with Daniel Farke, and I might be on side with that. But overall, 2-0 win. Big win. Slap a like on the video before you leave, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I might see you later on as well with full time with Connor, which we're doing later on, probably around about 8 or 9 o'clock. But we're back with 3 things as well tomorrow if you want to get involved in that. www.oneleeds.com if you want to see your aftermatch reaction on article basis, which we brought to the channel now. Thank you so much for your donations. Any thanks after the video will go straight back into the channel as well. Thank you so much. Head on over to the Patreon for more bonus competitions and more shows as well. You've got a show that you can get involved in below. Just get involved in it for free and you can win some free merch. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. One Leeds out. Cheers.